A 14-pound Rottweiler puppy that 4 families refused to keep, labeled too big, too loud, too much. Every single one of them said the same thing: this dog will never fit in a normal home. But what a young woman named Grace Halloway discovered on a freezing night at 3:17 a.m., just 6 weeks after she brought this rejected puppy home, proved that every single one of those 4 families had missed something huge, something they never bothered to look for. Grace was 26 years old, living alone in a narrow townhouse at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac in suburban Ohio. She worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, kept to herself, and had recently gone through a breakup that left the house feeling louder in its silence than it had ever felt with 2 people in it. Her mother called her every Sunday, her friends lived 2 states away, and the only thing she heard at night was the refrigerator humming and the wind pushing against the back door. She didn't need a dog, at least that's what she kept telling herself every morning while eating cereal at a kitchen island meant for entertaining guests. On a Thursday afternoon in October, Grace stopped by a roadside box that someone had left outside a rural gas station just 15 minutes from her house. A cardboard sign taped to the side read, "Puppy, free, must go today." Inside was a single Rottweiler puppy, shivering, curled tight against a torn blanket. No water, no food. Grace knelt down. The puppy looked up, and her eyes were the kind of brown that seemed too old for her tiny body. 14 pounds, 8 weeks old, left behind by 4 different families in 3 weeks, according to the handwritten note tucked beside her. The note listed reasons. Family 1 returned her because she cried through the night. Family 2 said she barked at shadows. Family 3 claimed she refused to leave the front door, as if she was waiting for someone. Family 4, the shortest stay of all, dropped her off after just 4 days with a single sentence written in shaky blue ink: "She watches us sleep. It's unsettling." Grace read those words twice. Then she picked the puppy up, wrapped her in her own jacket, and drove home without looking back. She named her Juno because she needed a name that sounded strong, because the house needed something that belonged to it, and because somehow the puppy answered to it the very first time Grace said it out loud. The first week was an adjustment. Juno chewed a corner of the couch. She knocked over a lamp. She dragged a single slipper from the bedroom to the kitchen 3 times a day and placed it gently by the back door. Grace couldn't figure out why. She would return the slipper to the bedroom. Juno would bring it back every single morning. By week 2, Grace noticed other things. Juno didn't sleep like a normal puppy. She didn't flop onto her side and snore. Instead, she lay against the hallway wall, facing the back door, eyes half open, ears moving at every creak of the house settling. She would patrol, a 14-pound puppy making quiet laps from the kitchen to the front door to the hallway and back, every 2 hours, all night long. Grace watched her on a Tuesday night, half asleep on the couch, and felt something between confusion and heartache. This was not normal puppy behavior. This was something else. I see you're still watching but haven't subscribed yet. Honestly, that stings a little. Hit subscribe now. You're gonna want to see what happens at 3:17. By week 4, Grace had stopped trying to correct Juno's patrols. She had also stopped moving the slipper. She let Juno place it by the back door every morning because she realized the puppy was leaving it there like a marker, like a promise. Juno had decided the back door was her post, and the slipper was her sign that she was on duty. Stories like this deserve to be shared because most people would never notice what a 14-pound dog is actually telling them. Grace started noticing. She started listening. By week 6, Juno weighed 22 pounds. Still small for her breed, still not what anyone would call an intimidating dog, but her patrols had expanded. Now she checked every window before Grace went to bed, nose pressed to the glass, ears up, tail completely still. If the neighbor's porch light turned on, Juno would freeze and watch until it turned off. If a car door slammed 2 houses down, Juno would walk to the front window and sit there for a full minute. Grace found it sweet. Strange, maybe, but sweet. She had no idea what was actually being watched for. On a Friday night in late November, Grace went to bed at 11:40 p.m. It was cold. The heater clicked on. The house went quiet. Juno took her usual spot in the hallway, eyes on the back door. And then, at exactly 3:17 a.m., Grace woke up to a sound she had never heard Juno make. Not a bark, not a whine, a low, steady growl that seemed to vibrate through the wooden floor. Grace sat up. She reached for her phone. The growl grew louder. Then came a second sound, slower, heavier. Someone was trying the back door handle. Grace couldn't move. Juno stood at the end of the hallway, 22 pounds of puppy, every muscle locked, her body angled directly between the back door and Grace's bedroom. The handle rattled again. Then a shoulder hit the door. Once, twice. Juno erupted, a bark so deep and so loud it didn't sound like it should be coming from a dog her size. She charged the back door, claws hitting the tile, barking without stopping. And whoever was on the other side, they ran. Grace heard heavy boots across the wooden deck, down the steps, across the gravel driveway, and gone. The police came 12 minutes later. They found 2 pry marks on the back door frame, fresh. The officer who filled out the report looked at Juno still panting in the hallway, still staring at the back door, and asked Grace how long she'd had this dog. 6 weeks, she said. He nodded slowly. He told her 3 houses on the next street over had been broken into in the last month. Same method. Back door, late at night. Nobody had been caught. Nobody had been warned in time. Then he looked at Juno again and said something Grace would never forget. That puppy was waiting for him. She knew he was coming before he even got close. These are the kind of stories that deserve to be seen, because sometimes the dogs the world rejects are the ones who were listening the whole time. When Grace looked down at Juno, 4 families had returned her. 4 families had said she was too much. But what none of them understood was this: Juno had not been crying at night. She had been listening. She had not been barking at shadows. She had been tracking. She had not been watching them sleep in some unsettling way. She had been standing guard over a family that never realized they had one. Juno was not broken. Juno was a guardian who had been thrown away 4 times because nobody cared enough to ask what she was trying to tell them. Today, Juno is 2 years old. She weighs 94 pounds. She still patrols every night. She still places Grace's slipper by the back door every single morning. And Grace does not live in silence anymore. She lives with 94 pounds of loyalty, 4 paws of instinct, and a dog who chose her before anyone else ever did. When a dog warns you, listen. When a dog stands guard, respect it. They are not acting strange. They are paying attention to the things we have forgotten how to notice. And if you are thinking about adopting a dog that someone else has given up on, please remember this. Sometimes the ones returned the most are the ones carrying the most love, waiting for a single person to finally stay. Because Grace did not rescue Juno. Juno rescued Grace. Would you have taken home a puppy that 4 families called too much? Or would you have walked away like they did? Tell me in the comments.